If they asked me, I could write a book about the way you walk and whisper and look.
Great to welcome to our book talk segment today the New York Times best-selling author J.A. Jance. She's got a new book out. This kind of combines two of her favorite series. This is called Dance of the Bones, a J.P. Beaumont and Brandon Walker novel. And J.A. joined us on telephone today. Good to talk with you. How are you?
I'm fine. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have a chance to chat with you for a couple of minutes. First of all, congratulations not only on the book being a bestseller, but this is kind of an interesting combination of two series. That's unusual to have, I guess, right? I mean, it's great to have two series, but to combine the characters.
Well, the thing that is the idea behind combining characters is to bring the readers who are primarily focused on one series into the other. And when my editor asked me, could I combine Beaumont and Brady, I said, well, of course I can. I had done it before, Beaumont and Walker. Mm-hmm. I said, of course, because I had done it before with J.P. Beaumont and Sheriff Brady in Cochise County. And then I started writing the book. And it was far more difficult than I expected because evidently when Beaumont was growing up in Seattle in the 40s, they did not have kindergarten because he does not know how to play well with others. I'd be trying to write a Brandon Walker part of the story, and Bo would come waltzing onto the scene and say, write my story first. And finally, the only way I could get him to sit down and shut up was to take the part of his story that had become a roadblock in telling Dance of the Bones and put it in a separate novella. So that's in a novella called Stand Down, which is available as a mass market paperback or else in ebook format. And for my devoted dead-free readers, your local bookstore may not have that book in stock, but they can certainly order it for you. And for my consecutive readers, the ones who only want to read things in order, they should get that book and read it before they read Dance of the Bones, because the action that takes place in Stand Down, which is a very important part of Beau's story, takes place slightly before the action in Dance of the Bones.
A bit of a prequel, so it'll help you understand, get into the story quicker, right? If you read that one first.
Yes.
Right? Yep.
Well, it was a roadblock in the story, and I couldn't get around it. I couldn't get over it, so I just took it out. That's the good part about being a writer. If somebody is just too troublesome, you simply remove them. No questions asked.
You're the executive producer. You can just get rid of them, right?
Yep.
Well, I just thought it was interesting, and I've talked to a lot of authors, but I don't remember hearing too much about authors that have had two successful series, which is a great accomplishment in itself, but to kind of combine them like that makes it kind of unique for your fans of either series. And I guess if maybe fans have only read one series, they'll have an opportunity now to get familiar with the characters in the other series, right?
Well, in actual fact, I have 4 separate series. And the thing that's wonderful about that is, in 1964, as a junior in college, I wasn't allowed in the creative writing program because, as the professor told me, you're a girl. And so every time I hit the New York Times bestseller list, I trust he is spinning in his grave. But the other thing about that is, if you have friends or relations who are writing murder mysteries, it's a very bad idea to make them mad. After he wouldn't let me in his class, I became an English teacher, and then I became a librarian. So if you read the first Walker family book, Hour of the Hunter, Dance of the Bones is number 5 in that series, you will discover that the main character in Hour of the Hunter is Diana Ladd, a woman who's a teacher on an Indian reservation, but she really wants to be a writer. She's married to a guy who was allowed in the creative writing program that was closed to her. Her husband is dead at the beginning of the book. And as for the crazed killer, he turns out to be a former professor of creative writing from the University of Arizona. So you see, we do get even.
That's right. It may take a while, but eventually settle the score, right? Well, I know a lot of the people listening have read your books, but I know we have people listening as well that want to find out about the latest books out there and may not have read your previous books. So give a quick synopsis of the storyline without giving too much away and Dance to the Bones, if you would.
Well, on the reservation, I went to the reservation as a librarian in the fall of 1968. I knew nothing about Indians. I knew nothing about reservation living. And as we drove over the hill into the basin where Fells is, there was this haze of smoke resting in the basin. And that was because in 1968, many people still used cook fires, outdoor cook fires, to cook their food. So I came to the reservation as a stranger, and they took me in, and my friends, Pauline Hendricks, Melissa Wan, Rita Pablo, Loretta Ramon, took me in and made me part of their circle. They taught me the legends and lores and traditions of the desert people. From them, I learned that on the reservation, discipline isn't necessarily handled by parental units. That is left to the aunties and uncles and to the godparents. And so in this book, Brandon Walker's daughter, Lonnie, is trying, her godson, Gabe Ortiz, has fallen in with a bad group, and she is trying to bring him back from the edge. For Brandon Walker, he is retired from law enforcement, but the problem with homicide cops is being a homicide cop isn't something you do. It's something you are. Mm-hmm. And so he now works for a cold case squad called The Last Chance. 40 years ago, he arrested a guy named Big Bad John for the murder of his friend, an old prospector named Amos Warren. So Brandon sent Amos Warren to prison, and he's still there. Now a group has come forward, a group sort of like the Innocence Project, and they have won a concession. Big Bad John can either have a new trial or he can plead guilty to second-degree murder and be released for time served. He refuses to take that plea because he says he won't plead guilty for something he didn't do. And surprisingly enough, he turns to Brandon Walker, the guy who arrested him originally, and asked him for his help. As Brandon reopens that case, he finds that it has links to another unsolved cold case that took place in Seattle. And so that's how J.P. Beaumont gets pulled into this milieu.
That's where the fun begins.
Yes, he's as much a stranger to the reservation as I was when I first went there. So everything about this is going to be foreign to him, too.
Well, I know we have limited time today, but it's a great premise for a story. And again, the name of the book is called Dance of the Bones, a J.P. Beaumont and Brandon Walker novel. We've been talking with J.A. Jance today. And Jay, do you have a website? I know you do, but give that out. People can get in contact with you or get the books.
Well, it's very hard. It's jajance.com. No caps, no spaces, no punctuation. If they want to contact me, they can send an email to me. There's a place that says contact me. I respond to all fan mail. Fan mail comes from my readers. Readers are my customers, and responding to fan mail is an important part of my customer relations. But there they'll find my blog, they'll find my schedule, they'll find books listed in order. There are a lot of useful things at the website.
Great. Pleasure talking to you, J.A. I know this one's going to be successful as well, and hopefully we'll talk to you again when your next book comes out. But thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much.
If you'd like to order the book we're talking about, please go to DougMilesMedia.com and enter the author's name in the Amazon search box. Thank you for listening. Please come back soon for more conversations here at DougMilesMedia.com. This has been a presentation of Doug Miles Media, all rights reserved. You can listen to or download previous programs at iTunes, Stitcher.com, or Doug Miles Media.